The year was 2205, and humanity stood at the edge of the known universe. We had come far. Farther than anyone had ever thought possible. We had colonized the planets of our solar system, explored distant galaxies, and even made contact with alien civilizations. The towering ambition of our species had driven us to heights that no other life form could have imagined. We were no longer the fragile, ignorant creatures that had once looked up at the stars with wonder. Humanity was now a force of nature, one that would shape the course of the cosmos itself. But it wasn't always this way. In the beginning, humanity struggled. We fought among ourselves, torn by wars, greed, and division. Our technology lagged behind that of many other species we encountered. Our strength, it seemed, was nothing compared to the mighty empires of the galaxy. The first time we met the Zorlaxians, a race of towering, insectoid beings with intelligence far beyond our own, we were crushed. The Zorlaxians treated us as nothing more than an insignificant speck on the cosmic map. It was their way, their belief that any species that lacked the necessary traits for survival, or the required power to assert dominance, would simply fade away into obscurity. And we, they believed, would be no different. But humanity had something the Zorlaxians and other advanced races did not, an unyielding will to survive. For years, we were forced to live in the shadows, biding our time, watching as other species expanded their empires and explored the far reaches of space. But we, humans, had something else in our favor. A spark that could not be extinguished. We had the ability to adapt and innovate in ways that no other species could replicate. It started small. We learned from our defeats. We analyzed the technology of the alien races we encountered and found ways to reverse engineer their inventions. Every loss was met with a quiet resolve, and every challenge with a fierce determination to learn and improve. We forged alliances, yes, but also silently developed the means to protect ourselves when those alliances failed. And fail they did. The year 2190 saw humanity's first real test of strength. The Valdor Collective, a group of peace-seeking civilizations, called upon humanity to join their ranks. They offered us protection, technology, and a sense of unity with the other races. But humanity, knowing the history of the Zorlaxians, the Cretheri, and countless others, could not simply trust the words of an alien collective. We saw their offer for what it was, a calculated move to bring a lesser species under their control. They wanted us for our ingenuity, our resilience, and above all, our unbreakable spirit. It was then that we made a decision that would change everything. A decision that would ensure humanity's survival, not just as a species, but as a force that would echo through the galaxy for millennia to come. We would no longer be the hunted. We would become the hunters. In a series of unprecedented moves, humanity refused the Valdor Collective's offer. Instead, we went on the offensive. We had developed new technologies, cloaking devices, weaponized energy shields, and even a fleet of ships equipped with faster-than-light travel capabilities that were powered by a source none of the galactic empires had ever seen. We didn't just play catch-up anymore, we were redefining the rules of warfare. The tipping point came when the Valdor Collective, in their arrogance, underestimated the sheer audacity of humanity. We infiltrated their networks, learned their weaknesses, and, in a decisive battle that would become known as the dawn of humanity, we struck. We defeated the collective's might with a combination of raw tactical brilliance, technological ingenuity, and, above all, human courage. In one fell swoop, we broke their power, and the galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity stood victorious. But it wasn't just about winning a war. It was about something much greater, the choice we had made. A choice that would echo for eternity. We did not simply demand respect from the galaxy, we earned it. And in doing so, we changed the very fabric of existence. Humanity had proven that it could no longer be ignored, that our relentless drive to survive, to thrive, and to innovate was something no species could overlook. We had shown that the spark of human spirit could not be extinguished, no matter the odds. We had earned our place among the stars. But the decision didn't stop there. As the Zorlaxians, Cretheri, and other galactic powers watched, they began to understand. Humanity had not just won a war, we had made a statement: we were eternal. Our capacity for growth, our ability to adapt, and our drive to conquer the unknown were unmatched. Even the most advanced races in the galaxy realized that humanity's influence would only continue to expand. We were not just a species of the present, we were a species for the future. And so, the galaxy watched as humanity forged its empire, not through domination, but through collaboration and mutual respect. We did not conquer the stars with weapons alone, but with the strength of our ideas and the unyielding spirit that had carried us through the darkest times. The decision that we made in the year 2190 was not just about survival, it was about ensuring that humanity would stand tall, forever, as a beacon of what a determined, courageous species could achieve. The universe would never be the same again. And humanity, the race that refused to be defeated, would be at the center of it all, eternal and indomitable. The victory over the Valdor Collective was not the end, it was only the beginning of an era where humanity would define its place in the cosmos. While the galaxy celebrated the fall of the Collective, they remained unaware of the true nature of humanity's rise. They thought it was a fluke, a moment of brilliance in the heat of battle. But humanity knew better. The true weight of that victory was not in the battles fought, but in the resolve that forged it. Humanity had embraced something no one else had, an unbreakable belief in its potential, no matter the odds. In the aftermath of the victory, Earth became the epicenter of a new kind of galactic order. The defeated Valdor Collective, once a powerful conglomerate of races, now found themselves on the brink of extinction. The galaxy had shifted in a single decisive moment, and humanity had reaped the rewards of their vision. But even with this newfound power, the Council of Earth knew that their work had only just begun. Under the leadership of President Helena Drayden, humanity made a choice that would forever change the course of its existence. In the wake of the Valdor victory, a meeting was convened in the heart of Earth's capital. Representatives from all across the newly formed Galactic Council gathered, including former enemies and allies alike. Among them stood the human delegation, composed of diplomats, scientists, and strategists, led by Drayden herself. Today, Drayden spoke with unwavering confidence: we stand at the crossroads of history. The galaxy looks to us, not just as victors, but as the leaders of a new era. We have proven our might in battle, but now we must prove our worth as a people who can not only conquer, but unite. There were murmurs in the room. The Zorlaxians, who had once seen humanity as little more than pests, now regarded them with a newfound respect. The Cretheri, a once allied species of the Collective, whose fleets had been shattered during the war, were still licking their wounds. The alien races were divided, some eager to embrace humanity's rise, others unsure if they could trust the new power that had emerged. But Drayden's words echoed with a clarity that transcended all differences. Humanity was not seeking dominance, they were offering something far greater: unity. The decision we made, to fight, to evolve, and to stand against the odds, Drayden continued, was not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. We will not let our people fade into the abyss. We will not be another footnote in the history of the galaxy. We are humanity, and our legacy will be one of perseverance, innovation, and, above all, collaboration. With those words, the fate of the galaxy was sealed. Humanity's rise was not just marked by military might, it was characterized by something far more profound, an unyielding spirit to uplift and inspire. For the first time, the galaxy saw something it had never witnessed, a species that didn't just want to survive, but to ensure that every being, from the smallest insectoid to the most technologically advanced, had a role in the future of the cosmos. But the galaxy was not an easy place. The peace humanity sought was fragile, and threats from within and beyond continued to loom large. The dawn of the human ascendancy. As the human-led Galactic Council took shape, new challenges emerged. It was not just the remnants of the Valdor collective that sought to disrupt the peace. The Cretheri, despite their loss in the war, began to question humanity's growing influence. A faction within their ranks, led by General Vlorix, who had once been a strong ally of the Valdor, began to stir unrest. Vlorix and his followers viewed humanity's ascension with suspicion, seeing it as an attempt to subjugate the galaxy under human rule. They began to rally other alien species disillusioned by the Council's promises. Their campaign, known as the Dawn of Darkness, sought to dismantle humanity's leadership and restore the old order. To them, humanity was a threat, not a partner. As tensions grew, humanity was forced to confront this challenge head-on. Yet, unlike the empires of old, humanity's response was not born of arrogance or fear. They called for a council meeting with representatives from every species, hoping to defuse the situation through diplomacy. It was a bold move, one that tested the very ideals humanity had built its future upon. The council room was tense as General Vlorix stood at the center of the chamber, flanked by his followers. He glared at the human representatives, his voice booming with defiance. "You dare to lecture us about unity, when your people have only taken from us, crushed our alliances, and claimed the galaxy as your own?" Vlorix spat. "You are no different from the Valdor, trying to assert your dominance over the cosmos." But President Drayden remained calm. "I understand your anger, General," she said, her voice steady. "We did not ask for this war, nor did we seek to conquer. But you forget the one truth that sets humanity apart from every other species. We do not back down from a challenge. And more than that, we never stop striving for a better future. We fight for the chance to build, not destroy. To unite, not divide." The council watched in silence, waiting for the next move. Drayden's words hung in the air like a challenge, a promise that humanity would stand unyielding in the face of adversity. "We offer you this, General, an opportunity. Join us in rebuilding this galaxy together, or continue down the path of destruction. The choice is yours, but know this, humanity will not falter. We will not bend, and we will not be broken." The moment was pivotal. For the first time, the galaxy saw that humanity's strength did not lie in its weapons or its armies, it lay in its ability to endure, to inspire, and to forge paths where none existed before. The decision had been made. Humanity was not just surviving, it was becoming eternal, and it would not be denied. The galaxy had never been so divided. The seeds of distrust sown by General Vlorix and his followers had grown into an insurrection that threatened to tear apart everything humanity had worked for. The Dawn of Darkness movement had gained momentum, rallying species from all corners of the galaxy. It was not just a military threat, it was an ideological war, one that challenged the very ideals upon which humanity had based its ascension. Humanity had built the Galactic Council on the premise of unity, peace, and mutual prosperity. But Vlorix's faction, a growing force of rebellion, saw humanity's rise as a threat to the old order. They believed the galaxy was not meant for one species to dominate, not even humanity. And they had gathered an army, not just of disgruntled races but of powerful forces who believed that the Council had overstepped its bounds. In the year 2220, as tensions reached a boiling point, the rebellion made its move. Vlorix, emboldened by his growing support, launched a surprise attack on Earth itself. The fleet that descended on the planet was massive, dozens of ships, each a formidable war machine, aimed at decimating the capital of the newly formed human-led Galactic Council. Earth, the cradle of humanity's rise, would be their symbol of resistance. As the invasion force entered the atmosphere, humanity's greatest challenge had arrived. The skies above Earth were streaked with fire as the enemy ships deployed their devastating weaponry. The human fleet, stationed in orbit to defend the planet, rushed to intercept. The battle that followed was unlike any the galaxy had ever seen, human ingenuity against alien might. But it wasn't just about military might. Humanity had one weapon the enemy did not, an unshakable resolve. President Drayton, though thousands of kilometers away, felt every moment of the conflict. She was not just the leader of humanity, she was a symbol of everything humanity stood for. The planet below her was being torn apart, but she knew one thing: humanity would not fall. Inside the Galactic Council Command Center, Drayton watched the unfolding chaos with a heavy heart. Her advisors were scrambling, coordinating with the human fleet to formulate a counterattack, but it wasn't enough. Earth's defenses were being overwhelmed. "We need to act now, or we'll lose Earth," General Tyron, the commander of Earth's planetary defense forces, said urgently. "We need to deploy the Warden-class ships and initiate the planetary shield." But Drayton knew that deploying the shield would come at a terrible cost. The shield, a technological marvel humanity had developed after years of research, was designed to protect Earth from any external threat. However, it consumed massive amounts of energy, and its activation would temporarily disable all communication across the planet, cutting humanity off from the rest of the galaxy. "This is a decision I cannot make lightly," Drayton replied, her eyes locked on the chaotic scene unfolding on the tactical map. "But we may have no choice." The decision was made. The Warden-class ships, with their immense power cores, were activated, and the planetary shield began to form. The energy output was catastrophic. Humanity's last line of defense was now in place. As the shield enveloped Earth, it formed a nearly impenetrable barrier. The invading fleet slammed into the shield with full force, but it held strong. Vlorix's ships battered against it, their weapons ineffective against the immense energy field protecting Earth. The battle raged on above the planet as Vlorix's fleet found itself powerless to penetrate the shield. But the shield came with a price. Earth's cities, still in the crossfire, were cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Communication with the Galactic Council was severed. Humanity was alone, isolated within its own defenses, facing an enemy that had no intentions of stopping. In the darkness of space, the human fleet fought bravely to protect the shield, but they were outnumbered. It seemed as though victory would slip through humanity's fingers once more. That was until humanity's greatest strength, its innovation, would turn the tide. On the edge of the battlefield, hidden from the enemy's sensors, a fleet of new human ships, the Phoenix class, emerged from the shadows. These ships, equipped with cutting-edge cloaking technology, were designed not just to fight but to create opportunity. They had been the final project of the brilliant but now deceased scientist Dr. Evelyn Kyra, who had been the mastermind behind many of humanity's recent technological advancements. Her legacy would now be tested. Drayton's voice echoed through the comms, speaking directly to her fleet. "Now is the time. We have only one chance. Use the Phoenix class to flank the enemy, disrupt their formations, and buy us the time we need." The human fleet launched a coordinated strike, the Phoenix-class ships darting in and out of the enemy lines with incredible speed, their cloaking devices allowing them to strike unseen. Chaos erupted among Vlorix's forces as they were torn apart by the surprise attack. The balance of power began to shift, but the fight was far from over. As the battle wore on, Vlorix, realizing his position was slipping, took a desperate step. He initiated the final phase of his plan, a weapon capable of breaching the planetary shield, one that would obliterate Earth and kill the human resistance once and for all. The weapon was deployed, a massive energy pulse aimed directly at Earth's core. But humanity was prepared for this final act of defiance. In a move that would be remembered for generations, Drayton authorized the use of humanity's last card, the Solstice Cannon. The Solstice Cannon, another creation born of humanity's relentless drive to innovate, was a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of firing a concentrated beam that could disable or destroy anything in its path. With the Phoenix-class ships covering the Solstice Cannon's trajectory, the beam shot out, cutting through space like a bolt of lightning. It collided with Vlorix's weapon just moments before it reached Earth's surface, causing a catastrophic explosion that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. The weapon disintegrated, and the energy pulse dissipated before it could reach Earth. Vlorix's fleet, now leaderless and shattered, retreated in disarray. The rebellion, which had once seemed unstoppable, was crushed. Earth had been saved. But it was not the victory that defined humanity's place in the galaxy, it was the decision that came before. The decision to never give up, to always strive for more, and to protect what mattered most, each other. As the dust settled, Drayden stood on Earth's surface, her eyes fixed on the horizon. The battle had been won, but the war for humanity's future was far from over. They had made their decision, and it had ensured that humanity would not only survive, it would thrive. In the end, humanity had not only proven its strength in battle but had shown the galaxy what it meant to be truly eternal, to fight for what is right, to sacrifice, and to rise above every obstacle with the relentless belief that no challenge was insurmountable. And so, the galaxy would remember, humanity's legacy would be one of unity, resilience, and the decision to never be forgotten. The battle for Earth was over, but humanity's war had only just begun. The galaxy, once a vast and impersonal expanse, now seemed much smaller. Every star, every planet, every species knew the name of humanity. From the great cosmic empires that once saw humans as insignificant to the countless civilizations now watching from the shadows, the legacy of humanity was etched in every corner of the universe. As the dust settled and the smoke cleared from the final battle above Earth, President Helena Drayden stood on the balcony of the rebuilt Galactic Council Command Center. Below her, the world of Earth had already begun to rebuild. The planetary shield had kept the worst of the devastation at bay, but the scars were still visible. Cities had been leveled, entire regions left in ruin. But humanity was resilient. It always had been. "We've lost so much," Drayden whispered to herself, her gaze sweeping over the damaged landscape. "But we've won something far greater." A small group of her closest advisors stood behind her. General Tyron, who had seen Earth's defenses pushed to their limits, was the first to speak. "President Drayden, the fleet is returning. The enemy forces are in retreat. We did it. We've saved Earth." Drayden nodded, her eyes never leaving the horizon. "We did. But it wasn't just about Earth. It was about more than that. This is about what humanity stands for. And now, the galaxy knows exactly what that is." The council room was bustling with activity as word of the victory spread. Representatives from countless worlds began making their way to Earth to form the next phase of the Galactic Council. Humanity's leadership, forged in the fires of battle, had proven itself to be not just capable, but extraordinary. It wasn't simply military might that had won the day, it was humanity's unyielding will to survive, to grow, and to push the boundaries of what was possible. As the final ships from the rebel forces limped back to their respective homeworlds, Vlorix's faction was already crumbling. The alliance of species that had once stood at his side, so full of defiance and anger, was beginning to fracture. Without their leader, without a clear vision of the future, they were lost. Humanity's victory had shattered the illusion that the galaxy was too vast to be changed, too entrenched in its own ways to allow for a new power to emerge. Earth was no longer just a planet, it had become a symbol of defiance, of hope, and of something else that was both inspiring and terrifying, the sheer unstoppable force of a species that would not, could not, be denied. A new era. In the years that followed, humanity began its true ascension, not through conquest, but through influence and unity. President Drayden's vision for a galaxy united in peace and cooperation was not only a dream, it was becoming a reality. The Galactic Council was reformed, now with humanity at its center, but with a new understanding. This council was no longer just about political power or economic gain. It was about building a future that could last for millennia, a future where every species, no matter how small or large, had a role to play. The Phoenix-class ships, once humanity's secret weapon, became symbols of innovation and progress. These ships, capable of both cloaking and rapid-fire combat, became the backbone of the new peacekeeping fleets. Their technology was shared with other species, fostering goodwill and cooperation where there had once been suspicion. Humanity, once on the fringes of galactic history, now stood as one of the dominant forces in the universe, not because of its weapons, but because of its ideals. The galaxy was no longer divided between the old powers and the new, it had become something more. Humanity's decision to rise, to fight not just for survival but for the promise of something greater, had brought them to the center of galactic affairs. The Valdor Collective, its power broken and its leaders scattered, became a part of the new galactic community. Former enemies now sat at the same table, working together to rebuild what had been destroyed, to heal the wounds of war. And the Zorlaxians, once dismissive of humanity's potential, now watched in awe as Earth's influence spread across the stars. The once overbearing insectoid race had come to see humanity as a necessary ally, a partner in shaping the future of the galaxy. One of the first steps taken after the victory was the establishment of the Humanity Foundation, an initiative designed to help rebuild devastated worlds and offer aid to species still recovering from conflict. This initiative, born from humanity's own history of struggle and resilience, sought to provide a voice for those who had been forgotten, for those whose needs had been ignored for far too long. The Foundation became an institution that transcended national or species borders. It was the embodiment of humanity's belief in the power of cooperation, the power of giving when one had so much to give. The galaxy, in turn, watched and learned. Humanity was not just a power to be reckoned with, it was a force that uplifted the fallen, that gave hope to those in need. The human legacy. As the years turned into decades, Earth flourished once more. Cities rebuilt, technology advanced, and the people of Earth began to look outward once again, not with fear, but with curiosity. The stars, once distant and cold, now beckoned with the promise of new beginnings. Human ships ventured into the unknown, carrying with them the values that had made them who they were, the relentless drive to explore, to understand, and to grow. But the true measure of humanity's legacy was not in its advancements, nor in its military might, but in its willingness to take the hard road. To make decisions that were not easy. To face down overwhelming odds and, against all reason, come out on top. Humanity's true strength was not in its weapons, but in its heart. It was the ability to rise again, no matter how many times it was knocked down, to keep fighting for the future, no matter how impossible the fight seemed. In the final years of Drayden's presidency, as she looked out once again from the balcony of the Galactic Command Center, she could feel the weight of history pressing down on her. She had lived through the greatest trials humanity had ever faced. But now, as she stood on the edge of the future, she knew that humanity was more than just a fleeting star in the galaxy. It was a force that would endure for centuries, millennia even, a beacon of hope and progress. Wherever the future leads, she whispered, humanity will follow. We will rise, and we will never fall. The stars above her shimmered with the promise of tomorrow, and humanity, with all its flaws and greatness, had made its decision. The decision to shape its destiny, to leave a mark on the galaxy that would be felt for eons. And so, humanity's eternal legacy was not just in the history books, but in the living, breathing future of the galaxy. It would be remembered, not as a species that conquered, but as a species that inspired, a species that, against all odds, had become eternal. Years had passed since the battle for Earth. The scars of war were still present, though much had been healed. The wreckage of the Phoenix-class ships that had once protected Earth lay scattered across forgotten corners of space, but the Solstice cannon, humanity's ultimate weapon, was now a relic of a bygone era. The galaxy had moved on, but the echoes of humanity's greatest struggle still resonated in the hearts and minds of every species across the stars. President Helena Drayden, now long retired from her post, sat in the quiet of her office on Earth. The bustling world outside, full of life and progress, was a far cry from the chaos of those early days after the rebellion. Humanity had not just survived, it had thrived, and its future had never looked more promising. But even as she looked at the accomplishments of her people, a sense of bittersweet reflection tugged at her heart. She had given everything, her time, her leadership, her unwavering belief in humanity's potential, but now it was time to let go. The younger generation of leaders, those who had been raised in the shadow of humanity's victory, were ready to take the mantle. Drayden, now in her twilight years, had made her peace with the decision to pass the torch. Her role in shaping the galaxy's future was over. The world was ready to move forward without her. The Galactic Council, now fully under humanity's influence but no longer driven by the hunger for dominance, had evolved into a true cooperative body. The once feuding factions had learned from humanity's example of resilience, and in turn, each species contributed their knowledge, technology, and wisdom to create a new galactic order. Humanity was not the ruler of the stars, but it had become the heart of the galaxy, a symbol of unity and hope. Drayden's thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime, the familiar sound signaling a message. She smiled, knowing who it was before she even looked at the screen. "Helena," said the voice of General Tyron, now the head of Earth's new defense forces. He had been a constant ally, a steady hand during the most difficult times. "The final preparations are underway. It's time." Drayden nodded, standing from her desk. "I'm ready. Let's make sure the next generation has a future they can shape." The day had arrived. After decades of peace, the galaxy was about to witness humanity's final act as the guiding force of the Galactic Council. It was not a decision made in haste, nor one driven by pride. The time had come to dissolve the Galactic Council and establish a new way of governance, one that would be truly decentralized, where each species would have an equal voice without the shadow of one overarching power. No longer would humanity dictate the course of the galaxy. Instead, they would step back and allow the galaxy to find its own path, its own solutions. As Drayden stepped onto the stage of the Galactic Command Center one last time, the vast hall before her was filled with delegates from every corner of the galaxy. The ceremony was simple but powerful, a symbol of what had been achieved. Unity. Peace. The restoration of trust. Before she spoke, she took a deep breath, remembering all that had been lost and gained. She had led her people through the darkest of days, and now, she was ready to let go, confident that humanity had fulfilled its purpose. The galaxy had changed because of them, and it would continue to change, to evolve, without the need for constant oversight. "My friends," she began, her voice strong but tinged with emotion. "When we first came together, we were a species struggling to find our place in a vast, uncaring universe. But over the years, we've become something far greater. We've become a part of the galaxy, not as rulers, but as equals. We've learned that true strength lies not in dominance, but in cooperation. It lies in the willingness to lift others up, to work together, and to build a future where all beings can live in peace." The audience, made up of humans and aliens alike, sat in rapt attention. They understood the weight of her words. What had once been humanity's dream was now the dream of every species in the galaxy. The galaxy was ready to be its own master. "As we dissolve the Galactic Council today," Drayden continued, "it is not an end, but a new beginning. The future of this galaxy is no longer in our hands alone. It is in yours, all of yours. We've shown you that unity is possible, even against all odds. Now, we trust that you will continue to shape the stars, to continue our legacy of peace and progress." With a final glance at the delegates, she turned to General Tyron, standing by her side. Together, they pressed the symbolic button on the console in front of them. The holographic map of the galaxy shifted, and the seal of the Galactic Council disappeared, replaced by the emblem of a new era, a galaxy united in its diversity, no longer controlled by a single power, but free to chart its own destiny. The room erupted in applause, not just for humanity's leadership, but for the promise that the galaxy, united in its diversity, would continue to grow. As the clapping continued, Drayden felt a deep peace settle within her. Her work was done. Humanity's mission had been completed. In the years that followed, Earth continued to prosper, and humanity did what it had always done best: it explored. The stars were no longer distant, unreachable things. Humanity's ships ventured farther than ever before, discovering new worlds, new possibilities, and new civilizations. But it wasn't about domination. It was about understanding. It was about creating connections, sharing knowledge, and ensuring that every species had the chance to thrive. And though Earth was no longer the center of the galaxy's politics, it remained the symbol of the decision that had made humanity eternal. A species that had once been overlooked, now stood as an example for all, that no matter the odds, no matter how impossible the future seemed, humanity would rise. And so, the story of humanity did not end with conquest. It ended with the quiet confidence of a species that had earned its place in the galaxy, not by force, but by the strength of its ideals, its resolve, and its unyielding belief in the power of unity. In the end, humanity had done what they set out to do. They had made the impossible possible, and the galaxy would remember them, not as conquerors, but as builders of a future where all were free.